to the Daily Allegory through Astrological Divination. Today's video is called The Whispers of the Nameless, the Empress's Mirror. Today we scry through a necromantic mirror to see the perspective of a femme fatale, who truly always was a fake empress that accidentally awakens the nameless that whispers in static, with some harsh communications. This leads to an unfamiliarity as tables begin to turn. Network becomes dismantled, and we firsthand witness the precipice of a mental breakdown leading to inevitable institutionalization. Now, instead of doing my normal opening prayer, we are going to be doing the invocation for the nameless of the duat. Let me have the ka. This is going to be my offering of life force, which is ka in Egyptian practice. And then I will be giving an offering of a full loaf of bread. This stuff I'll be throwing outside for the animals to consume and nature to take in. And that will represent the sustenance for the nameless departed. Hear me, you who have passed beyond the veil. You, the countless souls who journey through the duat's night. Nameless in the world above, yet known to the scales of Mayat. Your whispers now are the static on the air, the silence between the sounds. I honor you, the forgotten, the unremembered. I call to you, not to bind, but to acknowledge. I give voice to the silence and name to the nameless. By the power of Ra's endless journey, and by the watchful eye of Anubis, guide of the souls, by the justice of Osiris, Lord of the afterlife, I offer you water, the essence of life. I offer you sustenance, strength for your path. If your message is in the static, if your truth is in the sound of the void, speak now, and for a moment be known. May your hearts be lighter than the feather of Mayat, and may you find safe passage to the fields of reeds. Hetep nebetet dua aset nebetank akadua turf yurbiur bia hashefu durundur rafaneteru hetep. Back to the whispers of the nameless, the femme fatale's madness. In the city of Iridia, where opulence masked corruption, Jordan was a quintessential social climber, a woman whose beauty and charm were her primary currency. Her chart, a complex tapestry of desire and delusion, centered around a heavily afflicted Venus, promising both great allure and a profound downfall. Her Venus square Jupiter in the 6th house manifested as a relentless pursuit of indulgence. Gourmet food, designer clothes, an endless stream of parties, all funded by her job in a high-end exclusive spa where she catered to the city's elite. Yet this excess led to a professional sloth, petty office politics, and an overall sense of dissatisfaction that no amount of luxury could ever fill at all. It is a black hole, not a good black hole. It is a consumptuous black hole. She was a femme fatale in the making, manipulating the desires of others to basically climb the social ladder. So throwing anyone in front of the bus in order to gain headway. Now, the hidden aspects of her chart were darker. A Venus conjuncts a sensitive degree, Uranus in the 8th house specifically, hinted at sudden, disruptive relationship changes concerning shared wealth and secrets. An unpredictable volatility that she could not control. This was compounded by the Venus conjuncts Neptune in the 9th house, which is a yearning for idealized, impossible love found in foreign philosophies, spiritual fantasies, basically leading to self-deception and a delusion about her true path. Now, the heavy-handed consequence fell with a Venus squared sensitive degree Pluto in the 10th. This was a fated public downfall involving power struggles, obsession, and a complete transformation of her public image entirely. It's like the faces of meth when you see somebody start here and then after so long They just look like that face that's been sucked in, smelling farts for way too long. You know the face. You know the one. Now, the ultimate wound was her Venus opposition Chiron, a deep relational pain, a core feeling of being unlovable, unworthy, and not accepting a true connection. Primal insecurity that drove all of her actions. Now, Jordan's life revolved around a peculiar object that she had inherited, a necromantic mirror. Its surface, a swirling void that reflected not one's future, but the past and sometimes the faces of the dead. She used it to gain favor, offering the wealthy glimpses of their departed loved ones, basically a party trick that gave her access to higher echelons, if you will. What she didn't know, though, was that her fake seances were a massive deception. The faces in the mirror were merely projections of her own imaginative Neptune-Pluto energy, not real spirits. She was a fake Empress of the occult world, charismatic fraud. She often heard them, the Nameless, the talking static, that is, a low hum of white noise that she dismissed as tinnitus, like some kind of medical issue. They were the souls who truly were trapped, the forgotten dead of the city, attempting to warn her of her misdeeds. She ignored them, of course, choosing instead to focus on her climb to fame, rise to fortune, and power. Her carefully constructed world began to fray after she convinced a wealthy patron to leave his fortune to her instead of his estranged son. Now, the psychic pressure of her lies, her quincunxes twisting and contorting, become unbearable at this point. The static grew louder, a cacophony of angry whispers. The spirit she had inadvertently mocked with her fake mirror turned on her. They didn't appear as ghosts. Instead, the collective karmic energy of her actions and decisions delivered a swift, brutal mental breakdown delivered by angry spirits. She was found rambling incoherently, clutching her mirror, its surface now a plain blank glass. But her public life was ruined, which is Pluto in the 10th house. Her wealth evaporated, Uranus in the 8th house. And her idealized world of luxury and influence shattered entirely with Neptune in the 9th. In the quiet of the asylum, the static faded, leaving only a profound silence where she finally began to address her deepest wound, the opposition to Chiron, and the truth about her own inherent worth beyond the reflection of others. The mirror now lie dormant, waiting for its next, less ambitious owner, of course, silently awaiting to tell the tale of the double stellium, which is a mere static truth, the femme fatale's fall. Now, I'm cycling this through one storyline. There is a double stellium today, Lilith, Sun, Venus, stellium in a Scorpio, and then we have North Node, Saturn, Neptune, stellium in Pisces. Now, in the humid, veiled world of New Orleans, a woman named Jess moved with the silent grace of a shadow, a true femme fatale. Her power was written in her stars, potent Lilith, Sun, Venus, stellium, and Scorpio. This gave her a magnetic, hypnotic presence, a deep intensity, if you will, and a command over secrets and the darker aspects of love and desire. She was drawn to the taboo, the hidden, and the occult. She used her charm like a weapon, consuming the admiration of others, basically to fuel her ambition and stroke her own ego. Her life is guided by a profound karmic path marked by a North Node, Saturn, Neptune, stellium, and Pisces in her 4th house of home and her roots. This was destiny steeped in illusion, spiritual discipline, and the ethereal world. She was meant to heal ancestral wounds, to find spiritual clarity, but instead she used this energy to blur lines, manipulate truth, and build a fortress of fantasy around herself. At the heart of her operation was a family heirloom, again, the necromantic mirror. Its silver surface was said to connect with the dead. In truth, it was a masterful piece of artistry that, with a little trickery and the aid of her own manipulative Venusian energy, allowed her to stage very convincing seances. False magic, if you will. She became known as the Empress of the Other Side, a title that fed her ego and her wallet quite lucratively. She was a fake empress, though, a brilliant con artist who used grief for profit. The true spirits in this story, the nameless, the talk and static, as I often quote in my opening prayer, the forgotten have returned. We're always there, though. A low hum of white noise in the background of her life most people disregard. These are warnings most people heed. This was taken with a grain of salt and disregarded and chopped as nothing. They were the forgotten souls, the spirits who had no one to light their way. They tried to warn her, their voices a continuous low-level buzz that she dismissed as an auditorial quirk, a sign of her sensitivity. Her downfall began when she used the mirror to con a very powerful, grief-stricken senator, specifically senator. This scam worked perfectly, but the sheer malevolence of her actions disrupted the delicate balance that she had inadvertently maintained. The spirits she had been disrespecting with her charade were not pleased or entertained or amused. The static grew into a deafening roar. In the silence of her private study one evening, the mirror didn't just show reflections, it pulsed with a very dark energy. The voices of the nameless turned from static into a course of rage. The karmic return of her actions, the abuse of her spiritual path being the Pisces stellium, the manipulation of others being the Scorpio stellium, came crashing down. She was found in her study days later, raving, a victim of severe mental breakdowns delivered by angered spirits. The police found her rocking back and forth, muttering about static and whispers and incoherent, nonsensical bullshit, if you will. Now, the mirror was shattered on the floor, and the legend of the Empress on the other side came to a very tragic end. The true power of the unseen world, a lesson she learned far too late. That's all I have for you guys today. Let's try not to aggravate any nameless spirits. Just because they don't have a name, don't mean they don't hold great immense power. Some things operate on a frequency and sound that don't have a necessity for a name. Gotta keep in mind, names and labels are human constructs, not of higher dimensional beings that operate in the fifth plus dimensions, where they are but a sound and a wave and a ripple and a photon operating in a on a quantum level, on a qubit, emanating sound waves and significant frequencies on micro nanometer levels, where just because you can't name it doesn't mean it can't inflame it. So, word to the wise when we're playing in energies, you might have names to yours, but some of the most powerful don't even hold a title or name. I'll see you in the next one.